There's a story about a snake moving through the dark. As it slides forward, it brushes against a saw. The blade catches its skin and cuts it. That should have been the end. A sharp thing was there. The snake touched it. The snake could have pulled away and kept moving, but it doesn't. It turns back in anger. It wraps its body around the saw and starts squeezing as if the saw's attacked it and now needs to be beaten. The harder it squeezes, the deeper the blade cuts. The more it fights, the more it bleeds. And in the end, it destroys itself trying to defeat something that was never chasing it in the first place. That is not just a story about a snake. That's a story about people. That's a story about you. A lot of the pain that we carry in life doesn't come from the first cut. It comes from what we do after the first cut. And that's the part people miss. The first cut could be a hard comment, a delayed reply. It might be a plan falling through. It might be somebody telling you a truth that you don't want to hear. On its own, that moment might sting, but it doesn't have to ruin you. The real damage begins when your mind decides that this must be an attack. Now you're not dealing with just a moment, you're dealing with a story. And once the story's taken over, you coil, you react and you squeeze. You turn a sharp moment into a massive fight. Think about how it happens in life. Somebody you know might be quiet. Maybe they're tired, maybe they're dealing with something, maybe they're distracted. But before you know any of that, your mind's already filled the blanks. And you think you're being rejected, so your chest is tight. You read in the silence like it's a verdict on your worth. So you'll send an angry message or a cold message or a message designed to hurt them before you can be hurt. And what could have been a quiet pause becomes a real problem because you turned a cut into a conflict. The same thing happens when somebody gives you a hard truth. They might tell you your work was sloppy. They might tell you that your attitude is off. They might tell you that you're avoiding something that you need to face, but it lands badly and it stings your pride. So instead of asking, is there something useful in this? You decide that they're against you. So you'll call them fake and you'll cut them off. And now you lose someone who's been trying to sharpen you and not wound you. It happens in plans. You know, sometimes things get delayed. A door doesn't open when you want it to. A chance that you was counting on doesn't happen. And instead of adjusting, you take it personally. And it's not just a delay anymore. It's disrespect. It's proof that life's against you. And now you're fighting the saw again. That's why this story matters so much. It shows you how easy it is to become your own problem. Not because you're weak, because you're reactive. You keep treating friction like betrayal. You keep calling every sting an enemy because you wrap your nervous system around everything. And most of it was never there to destroy you. And once you do that, you start bleeding from your own reactions and not from the event. Psychology has a simple way of looking at this. Your brain's built to protect, and that's useful. The trouble starts when it sees danger too quickly and too often, and then everything becomes loaded. Everything feels personal. Everything feels like it means more than it does. A look, a tone, a pause, a delay, a blunt sentence. And now you're living in defense mode, and people living in defense mode don't see clearly. They see through fear and pride. They see through old wounds. That's why two people can live through the same moment and come away with totally different stories. One person sees a cut and they walk. The other person sees an enemy and starts a war. So how do you stop being that snake? First, you've got to slow down. I know it sounds simple, but it changes everything. When something stings, don't move straight from feeling to action, because that gap is where wisdom lives. Take a breath. Count to 10. Be quiet. Have a drink. Maybe go for a walk. Never answer while your blood's hot. Don't make a life decision from a wounded mood. Second, separate what happened from what you are telling yourself has happened. That makes a massive difference, because what happened might be they didn't reply, but what you're telling yourself is they don't care. What happened might be they said my work needed improving, But what you're telling yourself is, he's trying to humiliate me. What happened might be, a plan got delayed. And what you tell yourself is, nobody respects me. You see, facts keep you steady, but stories set you on fire. Third, learn the difference between one moment and a pattern, because this matters. Not every piece of criticism is an attack, and not every silence is a rejection. Not every delay is disrespect. Real enemies leave patterns. They keep undermining you, they keep blocking you, they keep showing up in ways that try to shrink your freedom, your light, or your growth. Now that's different. That's not one sharp edge in the dark, that's repeated behaviour. But one blunt truth from somebody who stays to help you is not the same thing. One awkward moment is not the same thing. One disappointing day is not the same thing. If you can't tell the difference, you'll treat good people like enemies and waste your strength on shadows. Fourth, watch your pride. Pride hates being cut. Pride hates being wrong. Pride hates being corrected. So pride is quick to turn pain into a battle. That's why most people are always fighting. Not because the world has attacked them more than anyone else, because their pride can't let a sting remain a sting. It has to become a war. And wars are expensive. They cost peace, sleep, trust. They cost opportunities, and they cost relationships. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is not strike back. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is step away, look again and say, okay, that hurt me, but it doesn't own me. That's strength. And it's not the loud kind, it's the useful kind. The kind that protects your future instead of burning your present down. So if you want this lesson, in simple lines, here it is. Don't fight every blade that you touch. Some things in life are sharp, but they're not alive. Some things sting, but they're not personal. Some things hurt, but they don't deserve all your energy. You do. Your peace does. Your future does. Slow down, look properly, see the saw for what it is, and move forward without wrapping your pain around something that was never meant to become your story. That's how you stop being the snake. You stop feeding every cut with your whole body. You stop handing every small cut the power to wreck your life. And then you start using your strength to build, protect, and move, instead of using it to destroy yourself in fights that never needed to happen. You have a real think about this. Take care, stay blessed. This is the way. And if you're enjoying the content, guys, while I've got you, I'd appreciate it if you would like and share. Even leave a comment in the description. I will read every single one, and I try to answer as many as I can. Thank you. Namaste.